Are we going live? Or are we going to record?
We are right now.
Well, we can just get my topics out of the way, and then we can just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Okay then, welcome everyone to the AVC show. I think this is episode 5, but I don't know, because I'm a fucking mess. But I manage. At least I'm trying to. What are today's sponsors? I don't know. I don't really have sponsors this week. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's because I fucking suck at my show. Sorry. Other than Alcoholic Gaming. He's still playing Black Ops 3 Zombies, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You like comedy? You like games? You like sex jokes? He's your guy. So go check out his channel. The other sponsor's me. I've got a lot of projects to work on right now, but I am looking to further improve my artistic skills, whether it's graphics, music, or video production. And if you need either of those services, you hear my music, you see my video production quality, which isn't the best, and you see my artwork, and I guess it's my resume, let me know on Discord. I will put the links in either the stream description or in the chat. And yeah, that's it. So, today we have not really a guest, a co-host special. AG is going to talk about his topic about the right to self-defense in the Western world, probably more specifically in the US. But in any case, I will hand it over to him, and I will just display whatever links that he needs me to. So, the floor is yours.
Okay. So let's just go ahead and can you pull up the second link I sent in Long Topics? Should be a picture of an old man, white hair, migrant shot dead by Arizona rancher, held on $1 million for murder. $1 million bond for murder.
Okay, I got it pulled up. Let me take off the privacy cover. Go. Well.
Okay. So what's important about this article is that it one thing that we know is that this old man, he's 70 plus years old. He's a rancher. He takes care of his ranch and his wife, and this illegal immigrant crossed into his property, and he shot and killed him. Now, the details as to why he shot and killed him haven't been released because it's still under investigation. But it's pretty clear why he shot him. This dude has had no former criminal record ever. He's not a violent person. It's pretty clear that he was probably just standing his ground and defending his land. Now, this person that he shot was deported from the United States back to Mexico many, many times. And normally when you get deported, it's because you've been acting naughty. And the other link, the first link, if you want to pull that up, it's the same
Fox
picture.
News one?
But it's
GoFundMe boost campaign for Arizona rancher held on $1 million bond for murder of migrant shot on property.
Mm-hmm. Gonna pull up that one.
Oh, let me stream to Discord so you can see what I'm looking at.
Oh. So that way it's that way I know exactly what you're doing.
There you go. All right.
Okay. So GoFundMe Boots campaign for Arizona rancher held on a $1 million bond for murder of a migrant shot on property. There was a little bit of outrage after this guy got thrown into jail. The judge kind of treated him like he was a child, kind of talked down to him a bit in the courtroom. And he pleaded with the judge saying that, hey, I'm not worth $1 million. I can't come up with $1 million. Can you lower my bond so I can go back to my ranch and I can take care of my wife because she's all by herself. and she doesn't know how to do any of that stuff. And the judge pretty much told him to fuck off.
Well, why wouldn't he? The judge is part of the American justice system. Freedom, justice, and liberty for all, right?
Okay. Now we can move on to our third article that I linked in Long Topics.
I'm going through these long topics rather quickly, if you ask me. Okay.
Well, it's all one topic. They're all related.
Okay. Oh, okay. Right. That's what you wanted to do. Okay. ASAM News. Is that the one you want me to pull up?
Yep.
Okay. So this is last year's news, last September. Hold on. Let me check. There's something. Okay. Come on.
Pretty much to summarize this robber, this evil guy, the guy with the gun, he was pretty much just let out of prison in his state. He was just let out of prison.
Okay.
And first thing he does, he goes and acquires a gun. He's a convicted criminal. Acquires a gun, goes and robs a store, and executes the store clerk. And the store clerk complied. He gave him everything he wanted. He was like, "You can have it all. I'll just sit here." And he shot him in the back of the head.
So like that's just more than robbery at that point. You just have like a vendetta against the guy running the fucking convenience store. Like if you just want some cherry pies from the clerk, you just point the gun and say, "Look, I want my cherry pies. So we could do this the easy way, or we could do this a hot way." But that's like one. That's just good old fashioned robbery, right? Now, if you get the clerk, and you tell him to face the wall, so you can plant a bullet in the back of his head. That's like Soviet style execution. Like, what does he gain out of that? Is there just like some kind of personal beef between these people that prompted an execution rather than just a plain robbery? Or is this not even robbery at all? This is about some very, very bad blood that's been going on for a long time. Like I'm dying to know.
All right, next one.
Okay, all right.
They all. I promise you, they all are the same topic. Well, they're not. They're not all the same incidents, but the what I'm trying to get at, they all have in common.
So they all come together under instrumentality.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Washington Times. Kim Gardner.
Okay. So this was during the height of the BLM protest. These two stood outside of their house, their mansion. They lived fairly nice. They lived in a gated house. Mm-hmm. And BLM protesters broke down their front gate and started getting onto their property. And these two came out of their house with guns, pointed at them. They didn't shoot at anybody, but they came out with guns and pointed them at the protesters. And the local government dragged them into court and wanted to lock them away. And they just barely made it out of their sentence.
Is this that old couple that like?
Yeah.
No. Hold on. Was this that old couple where like the old guy was not really old guy. The guy was like wearing glasses. He's got his AR pointed at all the joggers outside his door, and then there's like this Karen looking lady that has a pistol.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. These two had a glow up. They look way better than last time.
They were on their property, and protesters broke into their property, and they wanted to defend themselves, so they came out with guns. And the local government wanted to throw them under the jail, but they barely made it out of their sentencing. All right, next one.
Okay. KMBC.com. Video shows fight that led to off-duty KC firefighter's death. Ooh, uh-oh. Sorry, this content is not available in your region. That's strange.
Can you open it with uh, a private tab?
Let me try that. I think I got a Wayback Machine to... Oh, okay. All right. It's loading. Takes a little while.
All right, so pretty much what happens here is that this dude was in like some kind of store, some kind of convenience store, this firefighter. And this other gentleman comes in and acts a fool and starts making threats and starts becoming threatening. And he goes outside to go grab a gun out of his car. The firefighter goes and wrestles him to the ground, and our criminal here hands his gun to his girlfriend and shoots the firefighter in the back, killing him. And they pretty much just get let go.
Okay. Well, the video's not loading. Do you want them to see the video? Or...
It might get taken off of YouTube.
No, it's not on the YouTube. It's the local news site of whatever this is from.
Well, what are we streaming to?
I mean, I am streaming to YouTube right now.
Yeah, we can move on to the next one. Okay. You'll like the next one.
All right. So, the next article... NBC New York. Is that correct?
Okay, so... Yeah. Murder charges dropped in NYC bodega clerk self-defense stabbing case. So they actually had him. They so what happened here is that a local clerk, he's being robbed. He wanted to defend himself, so he stabbed the robber who was attacking him to death. And this was in NYC. They're not allowed to have weapons, so the only thing he had was a knife. And they had him on a $500,000 bond, I believe, and they were just going to lock him up. But there was so much outrage over this one case that they actually ended up letting him go. And then he fled. He fled the country to where did he flee to?
Narnia.
The Dominican Republic, I believe.
Ooh.
And he said, and I quote, "I don't like where this country is growing." So he got out of here. And you can see the video. This one's, it's probably, I think it's blurred.
No, I can see it pretty clear. I can full screen it if need be. Let's turn up some audio.
Everybody's seen the videos. I mean, what can we say?
Here, let's play the audio.
Well, new at 4, murder charges against a New York City bodega worker have been dropped after growing outrage. We told you how Jose Alba is accused of stabbing and killing a man who police say attacked him behind the counter. He has said that he acted in self-defense. News Sports' Gabi Acevedo live in Hamilton Heights with the latest this afternoon, Gabi.
Natalie, customers and people around the block have different opinions on this case. The judge dismissed the charges against Jose Alba after the Manhattan DA's office said it could not prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt.
In prison.
The deadly confrontation caught on surveillance video. 61-year-old Jose Alba stepped.
I guess power to
but one thing to
democracy.
Well, one thing to think about though, had the locals, ignored it or just kept quiet, do you think they would have let him out?
Well, yeah, that's because local politicians are much more accountable to the people, much more immediately. There's less middlemen blocking or preventing the chain of accountability between a local politician versus a national politician. So, if you piss off, let's say you are running for a local governor of your province or state or city, you can go around and your voters will literally see you. So the accountability of what you do as the local politician is quite immediate and in your face. So after all, humans make emotional decisions with the emotion of fear that compels, local politicians to, once again, be much more accountable. So whenever they see, okay, well, the people of my city, my town, my state, my province are pretty close to my door, I better keep them happy. So that's kind of, so the governor probably will pass along orders, threats, or bribery to local judges to maintain the integrity of the locale, which this governor is accountable for. After all, leadership, responsibility go hand in hand. So I think that's really, if you don't like the direction that this country is going, I think local politics are probably a good place to, a better thing to depend on than national politics.
Next one.
So, okay. All right.
Final one, but next one.
Come on. Okay, KPRC. That's overkill. That's correct. That's what you're looking for, right? Yep.
Yep. And this video is blurred too, so we can watch it. So let's talk about it and then we'll watch it. So what happened here? This happened in Texas. So keep that in mind. So what happens here is that, so what happens here is that someone with what appears to be a gun, we'll find out if it's a gun or not later, with a gun pointing at people, demanding their money, demanding that they hand over money, and walks into a store, starts waving it around, putting it in people's faces, giving out demands, and people give him money. And one bystander said no and stood up and pulled out his firearm and shot him as he was trying to get out the door. And then after he shot him, he found out that that guy had a fake gun. There's no way of knowing in that moment when he's trying to rob you if it's a fake or a real gun. So he acted out of self-defense. And what happened after that is that the government dragged him into court, and they're having him appear before a grand jury. Because apparently it was overkill the way he killed him. And we can go ahead and watch the video.
Number 4 would show.
It's the shooting that was caught on camera and made national headlines. The defense attorney for that customer says he feared for his life and acted in self-defense. But community leaders say he used excessive deadly force. Our Rochelle Turner live from the restaurant on South Gessner, where a press conference just wrapped up. Rochelle?
This was at a taco shop.
Sion community activist Quanell X and Dr. Candace Matthews with the Rainbow Push Coalition says they don't condone the actions or behavior of the suspect who went inside this restaurant behind me and demanded money from customers. But they said the patron who shot him went from law abiding to breaking the law, and they believe he should be pressed with charges. Now take a look. This is surveillance video from the accident at the Ranchito Taqueria number 4, which shows the suspect, 30-year-old Eric Eugene Washington, running into the restaurant, pointing a fake gun and demanding money from customers. As Washington is leaving the store, a patron shoots him several times. He continues to fire shots and even throws a beverage on Washington before he leaves the scene. Quanell X says once the customer shot Washington the first time, he was no longer a threat.
Put charges on him for defending himself. And they said he only should have shot once.
Well, they're like potato chips. You can't just have one.
Like, oh yeah, he had they even said, he had every single right to use deadly force to defend himself. But after he used that first bullet, no. In which we could talk for hours about how many bullets you should use. There are plenty of videos of cops fighting with people that are on drugs that have put. There was one crazy video where a cop put a bullet in each lung, in his liver, in his heart, 2 to his face, and the dude didn't stop putting up a fight until he shot him in the head. And he unloaded like I want to say like 50. He almost ran out of ammo trying to hide from this guy. And he was trying to get away from him too, because the bad guy was going after him.
Well, in those
The
situations,
threat is stopped when the threat is stopped when there is no more threat. So,
well, in those kinds of moments, do you have so much adrenaline going through your blood? First off, you are blessed from the touch of God to even be able to land one. You have enough skill or practice to land one shot on your target, and then usually one is not enough to stop the threat. The term "stopping power" can be achieved either through a larger projectile, a larger caliber, or multiple rounds or multiple shots from a smaller caliber. Most people probably in these situations are probably carrying a 9mm, 9mm parabellum, or however it's pronounced. And that is a small munition meant for portability and I guess portability. And
so another thing about this case is that the robber or bad guy, his name is Washington. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison for aggravated robbery back in 2015. Got parole in 2021.
I mean, we're in 2023. do you what do you expect?
And before he did this, he was charged with aggravated assault of a family member.
Yeah, well, these activists, they do not care. They're part of the what do you call it? They are part of the cartel known as the government astroturf complex. We can put it that way. So they are part of not really a controlled opposition. No. I'm sorry. They are another form of controlled opposition. So like the GOP, the relationship between the quote unquote deep state. I don't really like using that word because it's not really a cohesive organization. The deep state and the GOP. The GOP is basically the deep state's dog, and the other dog, or maybe the cat, is leftist activist groups like Black Lives Matter, I guess some parts of LGBT, all the social justice organizations. Those are all many more pets of the quote unquote deep state. So how does it apply to this? Well, these groups can never be pleased because the relationship between the pet and the owner is that the pet will always nag, hey, government owner, there is an injustice here. I demand more. I demand more reparations. I demand more of these people to be let off the hook. I will never be pleased. Give me more, and I will vote for you. And then the government dog owner is like, okay, little doggy, as long as you vote for me, I will take care of you. So that's where all these that's where you get paid protesters, just like all of those fucking Black Lives Matter protesters from 2021, 2022. Whenever the government, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but whenever the government has shut down, these protests don't happen. Coincidence? I think not. Illuminati confirmed. So
to try to net all these together, they all have a common theme, and I think the main theme here is the utter failure of the U.S. justice system. They would rather you sit down and get executed, like the store clerk who just complied. He just like, all right, I'm not gonna put up a fight. I'm just gonna play rabbit. I'm not gonna play hunter and kill them. They would rather you do that than defend yourself. Like the bodega clerk. Bodega clerk defended himself, was on video. I think the only thing that saved him was the video. Was on video being attacked, being harassed. He was just sitting down in his chair. You're not putting up a fight. He didn't fight back until he felt threatened. Well, and they even had him in jail for 6 days, and it wasn't until the community was like, no, none of this. This is ridiculous. When he fled the country.
Well, okay. Look at it through the judge's perspective. So assuming, a very big assumption, that the judge is not receiving bribery or pressure from other factors. The judge sees that, okay, look at all these past cases. Look at all the George Floyds. Look at all the, I don't know, what was that? Tyree Nichols or whatever the fuck that guy's name is. Look at all the...
They're calling Tyree Nichols incident racist, even though he got beat to death by black cops.
I know. Let me finish, because I'll explain why later. Now, you look at it from the judge is looking at all these past cases, just for God, how many, like 20, 30 years. So if you as a judge convict the I guess the Good Samaritan who decides to defend not necessarily himself, but defend his community around him, to be the hero, so to speak. What will that do for you? What will happen to your community that you're under your jurisdiction as a judge? If you convict him, look how they get the response. Look what kind of response that the judge will garner. These activists and civil rights organizations will basically try their best to fucking string you. So if you're gonna rule number 1 of business, cover your own ass. So what does the judge do to cover his or her own bottom line? He or she will definitely throw away the book of justice, tip over the scales of justice and truth to save his own ass, to prevent chaos in his community, to keep his job, to keep his pockets lined, so on and so forth. And if you've been remotely in touch with the direction that the justice system, the American economy, the American behavior, the American people have behaved in the past few years, you should not count on the American justice system.
You want to know something interesting about the first article we looked at with the 70-year-old cattle rancher?
Hit me.
Judge is sponsored by George Soros.
Yeah. So, people like George Soros, Bill Gates, they have more money than they know what to do with. So, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They've gotten stage 1, 2, and 3 done. They're old men with lots of money, with lots of means, who still need more power, who still need more troops, who still need more spec because they're walking with juice. They watch themselves get fat, but they still want their share. And they're going to put the squeeze on all of us. Or they'll try. So, whenever you're in that position, you want to turn your dreams, your fantasy, your glittering generalities into reality. And, of course, to protect your own bottom line, which is preserving your wealth. By buying farmland, by doing this for global warming, by doing this for oppressed minorities, blah, blah, blah. People would be like, oh, thank you. What a great philanthropist. You're donating money to this noble social justice / environment / global homo cause. Blah, 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 blah. They'll kiss your ass. You give them money. That's the exchange, right? Fair trade. Free commerce. Now, what likeliness does Soros have to be directly involved in something so small scale like the Tyree Nichols case? Like, which judge was it that was sponsored by Soros?
So I heard it on Fox News, but it was the 70-year-old cattle rancher.
Oh, right. Wow, I have very bad short-term memory, don't I? Okay, let's look at this article again.
It won't. I don't think it'll say it in the article. Like, I heard Tucker Carlson say it. I listened to all these.
Does Soros appear in the article? No.
It definitely won't say it if it's the GoFundMe one, because there was 2 of them.
There's 2 judges. What the fuck? Oh my god! Sorry
Damn.
about autoplay.
This poor old man has to take it from 2.
This old man, he played 1. He shot a loony with his gun, with the knick-knack paddywhack, and gave that man a bone. So
I got out what I wanted to say about it. There's really not much more you could say about it, other than the utter failure of the U.S. There's 2 more topics I just remember that I want to talk about that I linked to long topics that we could talk about.
If it's related to this one, you can keep going. I'm not.
It's related to the balloon that was blown up. There was 2 more aircraft shot down, one over Alaska, one over Canada.
My short take on it is what a waste of ammo and missiles. That's the long and short of my argument. But to touch on the gun rights and the self defense in America, I don't know what AG's thinking, but what I tell to like the higher ups, the judges, the politicians, doesn't matter. I don't fucking care what they do or think. What I tell for you as the average viewer, the best defense to these situations, and I'm sure you've heard this many times before, is to not fucking be there. If things like this happen, if you're in a situation where you're going to be the next Kyle Rittenhouse, you don't need a gun. You need to move.
Well, I want to add on to that.
But
I want to add on to that.
Go
Okay,
ahead,
so
AG.
Kyle Rittenhouse went out of his way to defend his city.
Uh-huh.
And whatever, you cross state lines, but what Kyle Rittenhouse did is he went out to clean up his own city. He went out to clean up spray paint off of walls.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And he got attacked by supposedly 2 unarmed protesters that were armed and had guns, and they were pedophiles, and they were all kinds of manner
shouting,
of horrible
I'm going
people.
to fucking kill you, by the way.
Yeah.
To Rittenhouse, yes.
And they wanted to fucking bury Kyle Rittenhouse underneath the jail.
Mm-hmm.
And if none of that video was there, Kyle Rittenhouse would probably have the death penalty right now.
So this goes back to TFM's
What's
advice.
different about what these cases are and the Kyle Rittenhouse cases are is that these people were either at work or at home. Cattle rancher was at home. He lived on the ranch. That's just where he lives. Store clerks were just at work. The one restaurant guy, he was just out eating, enjoying life. He wasn't out in the streets trying to clean up the streets like Batman, like Kyle Rittenhouse. And they're getting thrown under the fucking bus. They're getting thrown in jail for days until the community begs them to be released. You know?
So
Community's begging the old man to be released, but GoFundMe's taking them down.
Mm-hmm. So once again, this is it's a numbers and force game. So this guy, this Mr. Kelly, he was on his ranch by himself, probably, or even if he had a family, wife or kids, or any small number of people. If the government wants to fuck with him, well, not necessarily fuck with him. If government wants to protect the peace by preventing chaos, they will bury this one guy under the bus to prevent chaos in the city, because the politicians are obviously in the city. Now, if he were in the city, and he was identified as a part of, like, as in identity, like he says, I represent this city in, I'm sorry, where was it? What Arizona. So some city in Arizona. If he would, let's say he was in, I don't know. Man, I'm forgetting my geography. So if he was part of X city within Arizona, and then people read the news to see that he was wrongly convicted in, I guess, manslaughter instead of self-defense, as he should have been, the people in that city are going to go ape. They are going to do very impolite things to the local politician, whether verbally, in terms of PR, public relations, criticism, bad-mouthing. The politicians are accountable to the people in the city. Now, if you're an off-grid prepper and you got a small number of people, or if you're just by yourself, you're fucked. You're just going to end up just like this guy, Mr. George Allen Kelly. Some dipshit is going to come into your ranch. You're going to rightfully defend yourself, at least in my opinion, and then nobody will represent you. You could, or if you have a small number of people, let's say one family, you could be like the Bundy Ranch, where someone will, I guess, well, in that case, it's the federal government trying to take the land away from the Bundys. They will try to surround you, and if they can send out more goonies, government goonies, to show up and square up, so to speak, with guns, of course, and you are going in the other direction, you're, I mean, is that how you want to go out? Is that the kind of gamble you're willing to take? That's your call. Whereas, once again, and TFM talks about this too, which is and this is also not illegal, by the way. Instead, you can be part of a greater community, whether it is your local towns, it is a religious group. In any case, you should not. Obviously, self-defense 101. Don't start the fight, and if it starts on its own, then end it. But the whole point should you're defense. You're not offense. So focus. I guess I know this is kind of going tangential. This is kind of going into a much broader topic or broader issue. Is that we look at these news articles about people who are being squashed by the American justice system because, again, the government's job is to control panic and cover its own ass. A much better solution is to remove yourself from the areas where you are likely to be in a Rittenhouse-like situation or similar, as we've described in these many articles, and connect with a group of people who share your common values. Form a community. Again, TFM talks about this. And don't be a prepper. Your numbers will be too small, and don't be in a big city. Because it's a big city. That's how these kind of situations happen in the first place. So that's my tip for everyone here. And in case there's any feds out there, which I'm sure I might attract at some point, I don't advocate violence. I want people to live peacefully.
I think all of your viewers are feds.
That could be. You might be a fed as well. I might be a fed spying on myself, for all we know.
Fed boy.
Hello there, fat boy. Anyway, so.
You dare threaten the son of a shepherd?
Jeez, it's been so long since I've watched that show. Anyway, so yeah. Say hi to your neighbors. Make friends with them. Bring them snacks. Have dinner. Just find what you two have in common. Build something together. Build relationships. Build, I don't know, backyard projects. Build organizations. Hang around. Do bike races. That's a great way to be part of a community. So, or any other local sports competition, or gardening competition, or whatever. The reason why we as humans have a need to socialize is because of the obvious reality that nature has a lot greater chances of killing us if we are on our own. And even if we do manage to meet our survival needs, well, then you can end up like Mr. Kelly here. Some unscrupulous figure showing up in your yard, you shoot him, rightfully defend yourself, and of course you're not given the justice you are owed by your government. So talk to your local government. Talk to them. Be part of the community. They are accountable to a community that is right outside their door, literally. And that's how you live a better life. So you don't have to end up like these sorry souls that we see in the news. Anyway, well, do you want to add anything else, or should we start on the Chinese balloons?
I think it's a good point to move on. How long do we want this stream to be? How long have we been going for?
I'll probably outlast you. No homo, but roughly 2 hours, but I can go a little over. Anyway, okay. All right. Well, if you have any articles about the balloons, drop them in the Discord channel. If not, I guess I will dig up an article and start talking.
You don't want to talk about the balloons?
I'm about to talk about the balloons.
Okay.
I just need some reference material to get the balloon moving, so to speak.
Okay, so what was it, like a week, 2 weeks ago? An F-22 fighter jet shot down a balloon over the Atlantic Ocean after it flew through pretty much most of the United States and hovered over our nuclear silos. So this is an incident that actually happened in Alaska. And I watched the entire briefing that the Pentagon put out, and he actually fucked up on the last bit of it. But the reporters kept asking and asking, okay, what kind of aircraft was this? Why was it threatening? Why was it shot down? What posed a threat? And they said that it was hovering at about 40,000 feet and was a threat to civilian air traffic. So they shot it down with an F-22. And the reporters pretty much kept asking the same question over and over again for like 13 minutes. And the dude said, well, this aircraft, that was one thing. He kept calling it an object. He wouldn't say what it was. He wouldn't say if it was a balloon. He said the only thing that he put out was that it was about the size of a small car that was shot down over Alaska. It was just some kind of flying object that posed a threat to civilian airspace, and they wouldn't say where it was from or any other threatening facts about it. But at the very end of it, he said, well, this object, he had to correct himself, was shot down because it posed a threat to civilian flight.
How is it a threat? Just fly around it.
I don't know. And then the second article I linked was a claim from Justin Trudeau that came out recently saying that he gave the order to have another unidentified object shot down over Canadian airspace by American F-22 fighter jets.
I hope they didn't use sidewinders to shoot these balloons down.
They used a sidewinder to shoot down the big balloon. Oh
my God, are you kidding me? There you go. Your tax dollars hard at work.
What, are they expensive?
AIM-9 sidewinders. Those are missiles. Why not? You could just fire up your Vulcan cannon and just pump a few rounds of the balloon. It's just gonna go down. Also, you've used explosive ordnance. You're gonna blow apart all the evidence. So then, how are you supposed to investigate the thing you just?
I think that was the point.
Oh, I think we're onto something here. I've got at least two.
So the craft that was shot down over Alaska was shot down using the same method: F-22 fighter jet missile, and the Canadian one F-22 fighter jet missile.
Okay.
Sensing a pattern here.
Why not? Why do you have to? I guess are the Raptors the flagship combat aircraft of right now because the F-35 is just too many bugs. It just keeps fucking failing.
Well, there's like 3 different F-35s,
right?
And
A, B, and C.
They're
right.
They're stealth and they're expensive as fuck.
And they're a bit smaller than Raptors. A side note, why aren't we using Gripen Cs? Like, Saab Gripen Cs are way more maneuverable, and even though they're not stealthy, they can outmaneuver pretty much any other fighter aircraft because they're so small, and they can carry electronic countermeasures, ECM, radar jammers, which is arguably as effective as stealth. I'm not obviously an expert in fighter jets, but I used to nerd out with fighter military aircraft as a child. And yeah, and there may be a reason why they use explosive ordnance to destroy the balloon rather than just shoot it down, which goes back to theory 1, but I also have theory 2. So okay, let's see. What other reference material do we have?
It was also released that there was like 3 or 4 other balloons that happened during the Trump administration, but Donald Trump himself came out and said that he was not aware of any balloons. And his administration came out and said that they were not aware of any balloons that had flown over the United States. So why isn't the commander-in-chief being told about potentially threatening objects flying around in the sky? Well, when the first Biden balloon flew over, the one that flew over all of the continental U.S. and Alaska and Canada, finally got shot down over the Atlantic. Supposedly, Biden had ordered for it to be shot down, and the Pentagon told him no. So who's really in charge? I thought the commander-in-chief was the commander-in-chief. I didn't know that the commander-in-chief could be told no.
I mean, we're in 2023. We don't know what a woman is anymore. Should you really be shocked?
Well, the Pentagon is now the commander-in-chief.
That is true. And the Illuminati's in control of the Pentagon. And the lizard people control the Illuminati, and this flying spaghetti monster controls the lizard people. So, yeah, you can fact check me on that one. Anyway, so let me look at the other reference, or if you have any more links, drop them in the long topics.
This is pretty much the same thing, but it actually, this is interesting. I found a website just devoted to the F-22, and it shows a map exactly where in Canada it was shot down.
The Drive, is this like a car magazine? Yep, it is a car magazine. So then they have a little subsection called the War Zone. That's fucking funny. Okay. Wow, these fucking balloons can haul ass. Holy shit, they're just all over the place.
Apparently, the first balloon that was shot down was maneuverable. What the Pentagon said was that after taking wind into an account, that it was moving in ways it shouldn't have been. If it was just floating around, it somehow had the ability to maneuver. It also says in that article I just sent, the War Zone, that Canada mostly uses F-18s, F-18 Hornets,
which are cheaper aircraft to maintain and operate than Raptors, of course,
and are probably better suited for shooting down small balloons. Well, the F-22 does it, obviously, and an F-35 could do it. But it's like, why are you driving your Rolls Royce to the post office? Why not take the F-18? It's reliable. So it's the beater.
I think it's because you drive the Rolls Royce to the post office so you can flex. Yeah. So the F-35 is a piece of crap. It's just like newer cars, over-engineered, too many electronics, too much bullshit, and it's kind of proven itself to be kind of unreliable. Shame on you, Lockheed Martin. So then they Lockheed Martin's like, oh, please, we can't lose face with our shitty F-35. Just take our Raptors out so we can continue marketing our old product that we were supposed to retire a while ago. And then the Air Force is like, okay, fine. And then they just sent out the Raptors. Actually, hold on. Who made the Hornet? F/A-18 Hornet. Is it McConnell Douglas or
now we've gone off the
McConnell Douglas. Okay, so I think Lockheed Martin, of course, being part of the military-industrial complex, they had a little deal. They had a deal with the U.S. government. They don't want to lose face because their F-35 is a piece of shit. And McConnell Douglas did not outbid Lockheed Martin, so that's why they sent out Raptors. Raptors go shoot out this fucking balloon with missiles that we could have used for, I don't know, a more worthy target than some fucking stupid balloon. Like, anyway, so for all of you aircraft nerds out there, I hope you got a kick out of that. You're
That's
welcome.
fucking hilarious. The first air-to-air kill in an F-22 Raptor was the fucking Chinese balloon.
Are you fucking kidding me? All these years
Really?
and all this money that our tax dollars have paid for, is the first kill for a F-22 Raptor, sponsored by none other than Lockheed Martin, is this balloon, or these balloons? Are you shitting me? I'm sorry, my phone. I need to mute my phone.
That's why I was
Really?
seeing memes about an F-22 Raptor with a little balloon on the side of it. A little balloon picture.
There's a little like white balloon as a nose art. You know how the in past wars, like from World War One to like I don't know, I guess the Vietnam War.
They'll have like
They have like
they'll
nose
have like
art,
other
and then they just do like a
planes.
tally mark on the nose about how many things they've killed. This is the fucking balloon. Oh my god, send me some memes. I would.
All right. F-22.
Oh, this is so good.
Oh, there was another one. It was just like, now we're going to start sending Budweiser balloons floating over China. Oh my god.
Oh my god, I love this. Look.
Oh, here it is.
This is
Oh.
how you know the American government is shitting its pants right now. No one takes them seriously anymore. Oh my god. Oh, this is...
Damn it, where's Discord?
Uh,
I guess I'll send it to
oh my god. Oh, this is awesome.
since it's related to the topic, I'll just drop it in like topics. There you go. Pull up that image.
Oh my god. Oh boy. Oh yeah, this is some good shit. Oh, I love this. Oh man. So yeah, I hope you cocksuckers at Lockheed Martin got your money. Oh man. So yeah, okay. So I looked up in Brave Search, and apparently there's nobody talking about the confirmed kills at the hands of the mighty Raptor. Oh man.
I mean, there's probably some air to ground kills. I mean, it's definitely probably been used.
Oh shit, this is funny. What the hell is this? Yeah, we're going off the rails here, but there's A-10, the Thunderbolt / Thunderbolt 2, more colloquially known as the Warthog, has F-22 and F-16 kill marks, Raptor and Fighting Falcon kill marks on it, along with a bunch of dropped munitions and a couple tanks. So yeah, that's just kind of the American military right now. It's just a retired bodybuilder who's still trying to flex, even though everything's just kind of like sagging and kind of flabby. You know, he's still got some. He's a bit stronger than the average guy, but he's just clearly not what he was. And he's still trying to stay relevant. Very desperately trying to keep that image. And meanwhile, all of his fans, who used to be huge fans of him back when he was like the fucking hot rod that he was, they're all kind of laughing at him. I'm sure a lot of respectable people from the armed forces kind of, they don't really take themselves seriously either. It's just a job. Like I've talked about in my past streams. It's
I definitely have some iFunny memes I could send to you. We'll just turn this into a meme section.
it. Oh my god. Oh, this is funny. I never thought I'd laugh at fighter jets. Yet here we are. No time like today.
Here's one. I suppose I could just drop it straight into Here, look at that one.
I'm missing
God
this
damn
one.
it! Did I not save it? Is the whole image not there? Or?
I got the image pulled up on the stream. I don't know if you can see it. Should be able
Okay.
to see it.
You don't get it?
I don't get the joke.
Oh, you didn't watch iCarly then. There's like an episode where fucking Spencer goes up in an elevator with a fucking ostrich, and like there's like two other characters like, "What you got there?" And he goes, "A smoothie," because he has a smoothie in his fucking
he wants
hand.
to detract from the obvious, the ostrich in the room, so to speak. Yeah. So, oh man,
damn it.
So you can keep pulling up memes, and I'll tell the audience my two theories. So
this one will have sound. I'll have to copy the link though. I can't. It won't let me download it.
So
you'll
my
have
theory,
to, like...
theory one, is very similar to my theory about like the Area 51 Roswell incident. The Air Force and NASA are doing all kinds of tomfoolery in secret. And this might be one of their projects that kind of slipped from their hands and started to fly away, so to speak, out of control. And the government is trying to do damage control to try to keep the secret away. Hashtag sponsored by Lockheed Martin. Moving forward, right? My theory 2 is that it's a Chinese public use balloon. So I don't know if you guys know anything about the Chinese economy. They are more like a fascist economy rather than a communist one. Meaning that the government ultimately owns everything. However, they give you a really wide sandbox to basically do whatever the hell you want within that sandbox. So if let's say a research firm in China, they say, hey, we want to do some surveying, and we're going to send a balloon out there. They're probably going to need permission from the government, and the government says, okay, as long as we get to watch what you're doing, we will give you money to help you move your project along further. And then the research firm is like, okay, well, sure. I mean, we're just there to study geography or weather or whatever the fuck. And the government puts their camera, the CCP puts their camera in the balloon. The Chinese science firm, they put their junk in the balloon, and then the balloon goes out together. And the government, the CCP, and the research firm have effectively collaborated on a research project. Now, should this concern you? No, because every country is spying on each other. If you have, let's say, if China's spying on us, how many Chinese people are in the Western countries? How many Chinese people are in Australia, in the English Empire, the UK, Europe, Western Europe, Eastern Europe? They are all over the world. There are 1.3 billion of them in China. They're everywhere, okay? There's a lot of Chinese people on the planet. So how many of these people do you think might be spies? We don't know. We're all spying on each other. We all have internet. We know what other countries are doing. We have friends from other countries because of the internet. So why is this an issue? What is this balloon going to do? What have they learned about the Western world that they don't know already? And how is this worse than just Chinese people coming to see their family in the Western countries? What's the big fucking deal? So, then, an extension of my second theory, or I guess maybe a theory about the whole broader issue. What I think is going on is that Joe Biden is he's He's not instrumenting this thing completely at his own device. The Democrat Party is starting to see that people are getting kind of sick of the left. I mean, after all, again, a politician is there to please the 1,000 tyrants 1 mile away, aka their constituents. The Democrat Party sees that, okay, our constituents are very dissatisfied with our leftist policies. So then they are going to start to move a bit more closer to the center. Still a little left, in my opinion, but closer towards the center. Because they're starting to, they have completely lost touch with another sizable demographic of the United States, being the working class white population. And if not limited to the white population, well, just Republicans in general. Republican citizens, Republican voting citizens of the United States. So these Republican voting citizens of the United States, what is their shtick? Nationalism. Nationalism is also an ideology. Nationalism is about the belief that, oh, my country cannot be wrong. Everyone else is full of shit. My country is better, and fuck you. So, whenever you have this balloon, whether it's an instrument of the United States government, whether it's an instrument of the United States military, whether it's an instrument of NASA, whether it's China,
instrumentality,
whether it's Gendo and Zele trying to merge all of humanity into one through the third impact, it's bottom line. Government's bottom line is still to control the panic. So, however, sometimes sometimes people are going to panic about something, and at that point, you have to choose, okay, if I can't stop the panic, then I need to control what my constituents are panicking about. So they will point the finger at China rather than themselves. Whether or not it's actually a Chinese balloon or whether or not it's actually secretly an American military or American government balloon, we don't know. Now, I have no suspicion that it's Theory 1. It's actually some kind of secret government project. And it's so much more convenient to just say, oh, it's China. China is asshole, right? Because the American people, and I assume the politicians currently in the throne right now, noticed that American nationalists, just like any nationalists, are very eager to blame China for America's failures. American economic failures, for example. Americans are knee-deep in debt. 60% of Americans do not have $1,000 in their bank account. Thus, who do we blame? China, of course. China is the reason why. They make too many cheap things for me as the average American to buy. Therefore, it is not my fault that I don't know how to handle money. It is not my fault that I am in millions of dollars in credit card debt and cannot stop signing up for more credit cards. Duh. And of course, since I am not the only hypothetical American that is so irresponsible with money, many other real Americans are also irresponsible with their money. So, in order to not blame themselves, in order to shirk the responsibility of managing one's own money, it is so much easier to just blame China for all your problems. After all, China is asshole, right?
China
is responsible for all of our economic failures. Believe me.
Do we still use the F-18?
It's old.
Yeah, but it works.
It does. Just like 90s pickups. They're old and they keep on running.
Oh, the Navy still uses it.
Oh yeah, because their wings fold up and they're easy to pack up on a carrier. Unlike the F-15. And the F-15 is a heavier aircraft. But yeah. So, okay, that makes sense. So, yeah. I think it's an American project, but it could be Chinese. This is really not the biggest problem we have to deal with right now.
Navy's Super Hornet fighter jets are again worse than the F-18 predecessors. What it says.
I mean, the wings fold up. They pack up neatly. And you can line them up on a carrier. So you can go to, I don't know, some fucking island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and occupy it. Because that's what America does. So, yeah. How many people are even watching this stream right now?
Is there anyone?
I don't think so. Let me go look real quick. Man, I used to be obsessed with, like, fighter jets as a kid. One watching now. That's probably me as I watch my own stream. Oh well. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So I guess I'll hear about it in the comments if my theories are sloppy or incongruent. I am not worried about this. You shouldn't be worried about this. We all spy on each other. I spy on you, you spy on me. We're all one big spy family. With a shady deal and Fang Fang's kiss from me to you, won't you say you'll spy on me too? Anyway, all right. What's our next topic?
Did you see other memes I linked, or are we gonna move on?
Let's go. We'll hit some more memes. It's all good fun.
They are links that'll take you to iFunny.
Right. Oh boy, these are good. Oh shit, these are good. Okay, how do I start? All right, what channel we'll see next week? Okay. Meanwhile in China.
There's no oxygen here. I need a cigarette.
Shit.
Why the fuck am I here?
I've got him.
Oh no, I don't have life insurance.
No.
Cass, nothing matters.
Computer says you're too tight. Great.
There's no oxygen here. I need a cigarette.
Shit.
Why the fuck am I here?
I've got him.
Oh no, I don't have life insurance.
No.
Cass, no-
Oh, this shit is too good. I love this. Fucking 10 out of 10. Oh, man. I used to piss on iFunny for being like really low effort, but now I see why you spend so much time with that app. Oh, that's good shit. Oh man. All right. So, I think that's enough about the balloon, unless you got anything else to add.
Nah, I think that's it.
All right. Okay. Well, let's pick up a little bit from what I missed last week. So let's talk about moving manufacturing to Mexico. Where is it? Where's that article? Oh, okay. This is good. We got 3 articles to talk about this. Yeah, buddy. All right. Oh, actually, I got another article to add to this. Where was it? I think I should have. Fuck, I should have sent. Here it is. Okay. This is very tightly related to it. Okay. All right. So, if I recall correctly, the price of Chinese manufacturing labor is going up. And that's why, I don't know if you've noticed, all the cheap stuff is starting to come from like the Indochina region, Southeast Asia, like Bangladesh, Vietnam, Thailand, etc. Now, I mean, this is kind of expected as China continues to industrialize, their populace starts to increase in skill. Now, when you have higher skills, of course, it's natural for you to demand higher pay. So then manufacturing must scale down in volume and increase in quality, meaning that you have a lesser number of people willing to work factory jobs. And you will
just keep going. I'll be right back. I got to use the restroom.
Okay. Well, have fun. Don't make a mess. Actually, please do. So as the labor pool starts to decrease, the skill level of the average manufacturing employee in China starts to go up. They start to make more high quality products. And they still are able to outsell European and American manufactured goods. Why? Because America has spent more time post-industrialization and transformed into the service economy. Now, of course, services still require materials. Materials come from manufacturing, thus the demand for manufacturing will still be constant. However, automation is the other thing that's driving the labor pool of manufacturing industries, whatever you'd like to call them, smaller and more skill concentrated, smaller and higher skill, because the robot can do the simple jobs. For example, running a press thousands of times a day, like press, move on the conveyor belt, press, conveyor belt, press, conveyor belt, press, conveyor belt. Of course, you're going to get a machine to do that. A machine is much more consistent. It does not tire as quickly. It only requires very occasional maintenance at worst. Much better at that job, the repetitive job, than a human is. So a human has general intelligence. A human has much more creative capacity and is able to adapt to changing environments better, at least a little bit better than a lot of machines are. So now we have many different countries to do high volume, low cost manufacturing, cheap Chinese stuff. No longer Chinese, now Vietnamese, Thai, Bangladeshi, etc. India is another group of another large population of relatively poorer people compared to us spoiled princesses in the West, in the Western countries. So, who else is on the table? Mexico. Mexico has a large number of poor people looking for work. So, before AG gets back, I guess we could look at this topic more broadly. So, Biden. among other Democrats, are starting to see, well, the American people are kind of sick of the woke left crap. So we're going to give them something else in order to keep voting us in. Even though they kind of own everything right now, they're kind of a monopoly over American politics. But even a monopoly has to provide some level of service. Otherwise, people will completely boycott them. And the Democrats still, to some degree, have a little bit of a threat over competition, which is the pussyfight joke of known as the Republican Party. Republican politicians and so on and so forth, rhinos, etc. So, in order for them to hold on to the power, they still have to keep offering some service to the people. Now, what is the service? Well, since everyone's tired of the woke stuff, why not hit them with a little nationalism? And if you get them proud about the country to I don't know, salute, to express their gratitude for our brave young and brave, well, not just young, brave men and women in the armed forces, so to speak. That's better than, of course, that's better than exposing the government on their bullshit, right? So that's what they're going with. Buy American is a popular slogan, but is it a good policy? My answer is no. America is built, or the West, not just America, but America is kind of like the nucleus of that. It's built on cheap manufactured goods in order to maintain the service economy. So you have to provide those materials at a low cost, otherwise the living standard of your country, whether it's American or European, will go down the toilet. That is the foundation. Manufacturing is like Maslow's hierarchy of economic needs. The first level is agriculture, sustenance agriculture. You need to produce enough food to survive. The second level is commercialized agriculture. You need to produce, now that you've fed yourself, you need to feed others, your family, the town, the city, the country. And once your country is well fed, then you can feed other countries. You start to trade food. That is, I guess, commercialization. And in order to produce that much food, you need to use machines, like a tractor. How do you develop a tractor? Well, you need a very extensive manufacturing platform. Then you transition to the manufacturing economy. The manufacturing economy, eventually people are kind of tired of building tractors all day in a factory. So they say, okay, I want to do something bigger. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to start my own tractor factory. So I need people to help organize the factory, do the budgeting, manage my employees, to find employees, hire them, fire them, manage them, keep them in line, and then talk to other people to continue expanding the business. And thus, this aspiring tractor factory owner needs people who provide services to him. And that's where you have the service economy. And the service economy is where the Western world currently is. Well, at least in the developed parts of it. Now, there's a small constituent of people who want to go backwards into a manufacturing economy. Why? Because they don't know better. Because they do not have skills. They lack the skills and the willingness to retool themselves to adapt to a changing economy, as the economy always is shifting and changing. And it's really, if it actually follows through, it is the brakes on the development and dominance of the Western world. So that's my reason. That's why I say it is not a good policy to quote unquote buy American. Why should we buy American? Why? Because nationalism? Okay. And then you have a group of people who are saying, okay, well, I'm willing to pay X% more for American-made products. Why? Because I'm nationalist. I stand for America. And what's really going to happen is that no, you are fucking not. You are not going to pay $10,000 for an iPhone. You're not going to pay $200,000 for a Ford Taurus or Civic. And oh geez, man, I got on a fucking roll. You missed a lot. I went on a tangent there, man. That was I was in the zone there.
You're on the zone. It doesn't say you're live for me when I go and check your channel.
Well, let me send the.
Well, or you're streaming to your other channel.
I'm streaming to my 3.0 channel because my dumbass got the 2.0 channel strike.
You should have linked your 3.0 to your 2.0. Like in the channels.
Oh shit.
Or are you not allowed to do anything with it anymore?
No, I can't. I can't even change my videos, like the privacy setting on my videos anymore. And I cannot stream, I cannot post, I cannot upload videos for until May-ish. So, oh fuck, I forgot to call everyone.
Oh, there, I found it.
Watch my stream on the Discord server. Fuck, man, I need some automation, damn it.
Have them do it now. We've been at it for 2 hours? Well, you've been at it for 2 hours.
No, I've been streaming for 1 hour and 18 minutes according to OBS. So, anyway, all right. Well, I guess this is worth repeating because it's a very because of Biden's State of the Union address, where they started to say that they're trying to appeal to Republicans in order to stay relevant. The Republicans, let's say the Republicans ran the country, then it would have its own slew of problems. One of which being protectionism and mercantilism, which is for the most part the background of this quote "Buy American." So, whenever you see that, before I'm sure that whatever fucking hogwash that this article has to offer is not really that relevant. Actually, no, I take that back. I should probably read this article since it is a long topic and we've got a lot of time. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts before we dive in? Or I could just go on my spiel about why it's a bad policy.
You can go on your spiel.
Okay. So, our original topic was Mexican manufacturing. And that we are looking at Mexico because our cheap stuff, which is the foundation of a service economy, by the way, is the price of it was kind of going up because of the rising cost of labor in China. People in China are tired of making Nike shoes for pennies per hour. So they say, okay, well, I'm tired of doing that. And because of the internet, I learned new skills. Now I want to do something better in my life. So then the supply of labor goes down, the skill level of the typical Chinese factory workers going up. Thus, the price will go up. And if you are Nike and you're making shoes, you're like, oh shit, that is going to cut into our budget. So now we must look for cheaper alternatives. So then you go to Thailand, you go to India, you go to Bangladesh, you go to Vietnam, and that's where a lot of cheap stuff is starting to be manufactured. Now, who else is on the table? Mexico. And that's where that's because of Mexico being closer to the United States, and the cost of manufactured goods from Mexico will probably be lower considering how much less shipping you will have to do. By how much, I'm not sure, but I can guarantee that there is a decrease in that. And as regarding the cost of labor, well, if it's in Mexico, where I guess there's less labor regulations, then yeah, it will be even cheaper. So what does this mean? This is great for the United States because the United States is a service economy. In order to provide services, you need materials, you need gadgets, you need tools, you need stuff. Excuse the consumerism or materialism, but we are in a material existence. And in order to conduct business in a service economy, you need your stuff. Cheap stuff, chiefly. Now, if you buy American, take a look at things that were manufactured in the United States. I don't know if we have any mechanics listening here, but take a look at your Snap-on tools or any tools made in Europe. How much does that cost compared to the Chinese or the Mexican-made in alternatives? Yeah, there's quite a difference, isn't it? So American manufacturing, European manufacturing, is limited to small quantity of products of very high quality, along with a very, probably little perks like a very lavish warranty policy. Free replacements whenever the object breaks. So that is the only market that American human labor or Western human labor can provide. High cost or high cost, low volume manufacturing. Now, here's the other competitor. So we've got, as I've stated, we've got Thailand, we've got India, we've got Bangladesh, we've got Mexico. We also have robots. If you can automate manufacturing in the United States, which is even cheaper probably than shipping in manufactured goods from Mexico, then that will be even better. And under that premise, under that circumstance, then yes, I will firmly say Buy American is a good policy. Because the cheaper your stuff, the higher your standard of living. Whether it's food, whether it's energy, whether it is manufactured goods, or even services to some extent, lesser extent. The cheaper your stuff, the higher your standard of living. Do you want a higher standard of living? Most of us say yes. But until the robots take over these manufacturing jobs, that I'm sure the people that beat the drum to bring back American manufacturing do not want their jobs replaced by a robot because the robot's probably smarter than they are. That just won't happen. And that's where I call and this is what I call the parable of the $10,000 iPhone and the $200,000 Ford Taurus. Because if we do all this manufacturing with the current price of American/European manufacturing human labor, I would say, hypothetically, roughly, the iPhone would cost $10,000 and the Ford Taurus would cost $200,000. Even more if you only use American-produced materials, American raw materials, for example, lithium for the batteries, silicon for the computer chips, glass for the windows and screen, and aluminum, etc. If you use all the materials only from American mines, then I would probably say it's like a $50,000 iPhone and $1 million Ford Taurus. So if that's the price all over the country, if everyone wants an iPhone, each man, woman, child must pay $50,000 for an iPhone and $1 million for a Ford Taurus. What does that mean? Either A, your living standard will go down, or B, the government will print a bunch of money and it would inflate the shit out of the dollar so that now you have a reasonable price to... Now the average person can actually produce enough money to buy a $50,000 iPhone and a $200,000 sedan. Not even a luxury car, a fucking Ford Taurus. Four-door consumer automobile. So, in this case, if the Biden administration turns into like a super erect, full American nationalist Republican political group, and we do not replace all of these manufacturing jobs with robots, and we do not outsource our labor to Thailand, Bangladesh, India, Mexico, we will deal with the situation of the $50,000 iPhone and the $1 million Ford Taurus. Do you want that future, AG, in order to keep America strong, in order to buy American? Do you want that kind of outcome?
Well, I think we need to have more of an ability to buy North American. So Mexico is supposedly still a growing economy, and they're moving up in their economy size. If we really want to put pressure on China, we could try to help Mexico set up like chip factories and more car factories. We do a lot of car trading with them, like car parts being made there and then shipped on over to the U.S.
Yeah, a lot of cars are made. A lot of American cars are made in Mexico, or at least assembled in Mexico, because it's pretty expensive to ship cars in from China, right? So let me just touch on another thing briefly. So If you guys have heard the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I would say there's like a Maslow's hierarchy of economic development. So the first level is sustenance agriculture. People must feed themselves. Once they can feed themselves, then they'll feed their neighbors, their city, their country. And in order to produce that much food, then they must industrialize. So at first is sustenance agriculture, then second is commercial agriculture. You're producing food to sell. And in order to produce enough food to sell internationally, then you must industrialize. You must have a tractor. Tractor cannot be built without factory. Factory, industrialization, manufacturing economy. So sustenance, commercial agriculture, then manufacturing economy. Manufacturing economy is kind of where most of Asia is in right now. Though they're starting to crawl out of it. They're starting to crawl into the service economy, which is the fourth level, which is where the United States have been for probably 70 or so years. Which, again, cheap stuff in order to provide services to each other. Now, where's Mexico? Mexico, if I recall correctly, is kind of like it kind of skipped over the industrialization part because they got all of their industrial goods first from the Spanish, and then afterwards from probably the United States. So they kind of had the so they first were agriculture, barely, if anything at all. And then they had industrialization handed to them. And then now they're trying to skip over to the service economy. Now, the service economy is kind of 50% Mexico trying to do honest business, and the other 50% being the cartels. Because as we know, the cartels are kind of the shadow government of Mexico. Now, what service does the cartels offer? Well, actually quite a bit. They have very, very fancy spas that they allow tourists to come in and go freely as they please. Kind of the relationship between the cartels and the Mexican government is very similar to that of the Yakuza and the Japanese government. So if the criminal organization, quote-unquote criminal organization, wants to stay cohesive, they become part of the shadow government. Organized crime squashes petty crime. So whenever the cartels or the mafia or the Yakuza, they eliminate petty crime, they save the government some trouble. So the government says, hey, why don't we just outsource the cleanup of petty crime, small level criminals, to the bigger criminals. We'll cut them a check. These criminals keep the neighborhoods clean. What's the problem, right? And that's how the shadow government stays together. Meanwhile, there's cartels that they hustle drugs, they hustle whores, they hustle all kinds of nasty shit. They're unscrupulous people. But you got to take the good with the bad, right? Without these cartels burying all this money and I guess not embezzling. They kill some people they don't like on this end, and then they send that money to their families, to the spas, so you can go on that crazy, like, what is it, Guadalupe? That's one city that's run by cartel, basically cartel beautification, dare I say. It's a pretty neat looking place. So, yeah. That's their service economy. So back to our original topic. That is the service economy of Mexico. And meanwhile, to continue the revenue coming in until automation takes over, they're the man that could do both. Get you a man who could do both, right? They'll do the service through the cartels, and they give you a nice. They open a little spa for I can't think of the Spanish name for like a pretty girl, where this beautiful Mexican lady will give you a back rub and put some hot stones on your back, while the Mexican economy continues to provide cheap manufactured goods to the United States so the United States can produce their standard of living and keep the cartels in business by keeping drugs illegal. Yeah, what do you say, Mexico? That's kind of how it's, yeah. Maybe. But I'm not an expert, don't listen to me. Anyway, that was kind of a topic in and of itself. So yeah, let's hit this article briefly. So, a rare moment of bipartisan agreement along the often contentious State of the Union address. Yep, called it. That's all where it came from. Biden pledged to use American
BRB.
materials. When building the thousands of construction projects that were founded by the massive infrastructure bill he signed during the first year in office. During his first year in office. Wow. That surprises me. When we do these projects, Biden said, we're going to buy American. On my watch, American roads, bridges, and highways are going to be made with American products as well. Well, they kind of have to. I mean, if you can't just import asphalt. Or you could, but that's just a huge pain in the ass, and it's way cheaper to just produce it locally. What is asphalt? Crude oil? Petroleum solids. Rocks, dirt, gravel. Yeah. So the core principle... Okay, so I completely missed the market. I thought I was talking about, like, consumer manufactured goods. But it turns out it was... No, it was... infrastructure. His predecessor, Donald Trump, repeatedly called for the country to buy American and hire American and sign several executive orders to promote that principle. A series of laws dating back to the 1930s require the government to prefer American-made products whenever possible, but those laws include a lot of room for exceptions, and experts say they're rarely enforced. The $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, quote-unquote. Oh, I'm not going to believe a fucking thing this thing says. Roads and bridges since the interstate highway system. What about fucking bike paths? Get these Americans fat asses on some bikes. That would solve so many problems. Holy shit. Imagine the decrease in traffic. You don't have to sit on a smelly bus next to all the crackheads. Clean electric buses. Oh, what the fuck? Get the kids on bikes too. Give them the exercise they fucking need. Come on. Oh, wait, Americans won't vote for that because they're all fat pieces of shit. That's right. Silly me. I'm the fool here. What do I know? I'm just some asshole on a bike. The appeal of Buy American is obvious. Beyond being extremely popular with the voters, the policy is seen as promoting economic growth by ensuring that tax money spent to build up the country stays in the U.S. Supporters say that it helps to create high-quality blue-collar jobs in American factories. Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh, my God. I don't want to hear about fucking U.S. manufacturing jobs unless there's robots somewhere in that sentence. Americans they cannot outcompete Mexican, Indian, Bangladeshi, Thai, Vietnamese labor for manufacturing, bulk manufacturing of consumer goods. But if many economists say that Buy Americans is a self-defeating policy, yes, it is. Until the robots come. Yes, it is. They argue that limiting competition for government contracts means tax money will be wasted on materials that are much more expensive and often lesser quality than what could be purchased from abroad. Yep, bingo! Fucking bullseye. Others say that the country's infrastructure needs are so enormous, especially if we're going to meet our obligations to curb climate change. I don't know if you can hear my eyes roll there. That any rule creates extra obstacles for builders will do more harm than good. There are concerns about how the policy will affect America's relationship with allies like key strategic partners in Europe and Asia will have criticized the U.S. for their view, turning their backs on relationships that have taken decades to build. Critics argue that playing a dangerous game by upsetting allies will need to compete. It will need, if it wants to compete with China and stifle Russia's aggression, which is really just defense, if you ask me. So, supporters, the affirmative argument. Buy American creates good jobs for American workers. The federal government is the number one consumer in the United States. If the federal government spends its dollars to invest in American businesses, we will see unprecedented growth in both small and large companies across the country. The hope is that it will create and sustain good-paying union jobs that support workers and communities alike. It is the best chance to rebuild the American middle class. Too many working people have struggled to make ends meet for far too long. Oh my God. Yeah, no. You're not going to get a factory job for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year with benefits. Sorry. That's just not the market wage. A robot can do that job better than you for a lot less money. The U.S. needs to be more independent to stand up against competitors. Yes. And we can only achieve that with robots. Why? Because cheap goods, higher standard of living. Cheap energy, higher standard of living. Cheap food, higher standard of living. Maybe am I starting to make sense after repeating it like 10 times? Yeah. Okay, what is this article? The stark truth is that the United States is now staring down the twin threats of belligerent Russia and China, and that will require a new Cold War approach. Essentially, given Russia's invasion of Ukraine and China's open support, there's more urgency than ever for bringing critical supply chains back to the United States. So, yeah, no one's going to hire factory workers for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 a year plus benefits. The U.S. needs to be more independent to stand up against competitors. Yes, and in theory, yes, that is true. American energy and manufacturing independence is very important long term. But how are we going to achieve this, especially with such a...
I'm gonna have to go.
I
apologize.
I just got all spooled up.
Checking out.
I'm ready to drop the boost, and now you let off the
Well, maybe you could get one of your... maybe you could get that one guy that wanted to help you out to join the chat.
No. No is all I'll say.
All
no,
right.
but thank
well,
you.
I gotta go.
Okay, see you around.
Like and subscribe. Bye.
Yeah, go check out Alcoholic Gaming, Black Ops 3 Zombies comedy. Yeah, you've heard it. Anyway, so the past few years have shows how risky it is to rely heavily on other countries. Yes, that is pretty damn true. The drift of Mr. Biden's policies represent a wake-up call for European leaders. For better and for worse, the air and free trade has been an unchallenged strategic goal in the West is over. Downsides of consensus were exposed by populist revolts in post-industrial regions of the West, COVID-related supply chain failures, national security concerns, and the global energy crisis. Yes. Other countries like China, India, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Thailand, and now soon probably Mexico, they have power over the U.S., knowing that, hey, if you piss us off, we'll just stop exporting stuff to you. And your standard of living will crash, and you are our bitch. That is a good point. Even though I generally disagree with this really economically incompetent nationalism known as quote unquote Buy American. Again, until the robots come along. It is very true. These countries have power over the West, not just the U.S., ultimately, in the sense that they could just shut down their exports to control, to basically manipulate the country. So if you can, again, get the robots moving and the West manufactures its own shit, you can appeal to the nationalism, competently continue to increase the standard of living, thus maintain the competitiveness of the West in an international economy. Global economy, not globalism, global economy. Being globally competitive, which is, I imagine, is a huge component of maintaining Western hegemony, dominance over the rest of the world, to maintain its superpower status. So you don't have to fight these stupid fucking wars in Ukraine, right? With the right commitment, the Buy American can help revive U.S. manufacturing. Oh yes, well let's bring back manufacturing and let's not replace the jobs of these people with robots, because nationalism is more powerful than the laws of economy. Because we shouldn't give people the consumer choice to choose the product they so desire in the free market, which is a very important part of Western civilization, free market capitalism. But good economics is bad politics and vice versa. Biden delivering on promises Trump failed to keep. Wow! Look at Biden. Look, Biden is stealing all of the racist, sexist, homophobic, misogynistic policies that Trump wanted to pass along, and now Biden's the fucking hero. What the fuck? God, this is just... What Trump once promised, I'm delivering a bipartisan infrastructure bill. Tougher Buy American rules. Oh, God, don't tell me there's embargoes. Oh, please. Oh, no. Reindustrialization. No, we're already a service economy. Let's keep it that way. We're beyond the industrial economy. We left that shit behind like 70 years ago. Fuck your manufacturing jobs. Unless you got robots. Then I'm all about American manufacturing. But until then, fuck no. Fuck off. Taking on Big Pharma, yeah, okay. I gotta say, I'm with Biden on that one. The fucking war on drugs is just so stupid. Big investments on technological competition with Beijing. Oh yeah, good luck with that. China is kicking the West's ass in terms of AI development because they don't have the PC police breathing down their neck. All right. That was all the affirmative arguments. Let's take the negative arguments. Critics of the Buy American policy. With less competition, everything becomes more expensive and worse quality. Yep. Bingo. They raise the average cost and lower the average quality of everything the government buys. That is the inevitable consequence of limiting choices to government purchasing managers, just as it is for ordinary consumers. Job created may be offset by those lost when other countries retaliate. Bingo. Promoting Buy American means wasting taxpayer dollars. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you got it. You got it, Mr. Dominic Pino. Biden looked at the American people in the eye and promised to spend their money poorly, and he was applauded for it. But by promising to double down on past mistakes and exacerbate them, Biden is ensuring taxpayers get less for the money, and special interest groups for lobby for government protection get more for theirs. Labor unions. Building a green economy is more important than creating a few more American jobs. Interesting how this person, whoever it is, that believes in fucking climate change. Not what the words literally mean. Climate's always change, but of course with the implication of the word climate change. What is this? What? Fuck off. Don't dismiss Europe's objection to Buy American. So Emmanuel Macron, he's the one that said that? Anyway. So, yeah, the French and their fucking nuclear power. Sacre bleu. Buying American will make it harder to meet the incredible challenge of rebuilding the U.S. The U.S. can't be rebuilt. It's fucking broken beyond repair. Come on. That being said, I won't say no to new bike paths. The U.S. should be concerned about building more and building faster. Building certainly won't get any cheaper or easier if our policies increase the cost of essential materials by making foreign purchases of them illegal. Yep. I applaud thee. All things equal, buying American might make building in America more expensive at a time when we should be obsessed with reducing costs rather than raising them. Yes, sirree. The U.S. cannot defeat its rivals by turning its back on its allies. At this early stage of Cold War II, or whatever you want to call it. Shit, you got it. It makes more sense to err on the side of defense to our allies, especially those who are in the same geographic neighborhood as China and Russia. So yeah, that's it. Yeah. Until the robots come along, don't buy American. Americans are lazy, fat, spoiled by an overinflated wage and a living standard that they kind of don't deserve, really, if you ask me, considering how irresponsible they are with their own money. Yeah. Biden is trying to stay in office because the Democrats realize that, okay, well, maybe we're kind of pissing off the people. And that's why they're appealing to nationalism. And that's why we've turned to Mexico to continue manufacturing cheap shit for us as spoiled princess Westerners that we are to maintain our standard of living. Because we all implicitly understand that cheap stuff makes a higher standard of living. And no nationalism will completely beat that out of our minds. It will try, but ultimately won't. So fuck your manufacturing jobs unless you're bringing robots. I do not pity you. The economy changes. I adapt to it. I don't bang my fists on the table begging the government to change the economy to adapt to me. Because I am not... I'm pretty spoiled, but I'm not a princess. Just saying. Yeah. So let's go specifically to Mexico. How Mexico fills the manufacturing skills gap. Oh, I don't get what this article is going at. So it says like the skills gap. Well, manufacturing is, again, in the Western world, United States, Europe, the manufacturing is lower volume and higher cost, higher value per unit. So do we as the West really need more skills in our manufacturing sector? I don't really think so. We need more volume. And when you increase the volume of a high quality product, we drive down the price of it. And then everyone has a higher quality product. So what the fuck is this article about? Currently, there's a number of positions in manufacturing, and the employers are scrambling to fill them, but they are unable to locate qualified candidates with the proper skill set by 20... Oh, wow. But it doesn't say which country that they're talking about where, quote, employers are unable to locate qualified candidates with the proper skill set. Excuse me. By 2030, the National Association of Manufacturers anticipates 2.1 million unfilled manufacturing jobs in the United States due to a shortage of qualified manufacturing workers. Well, that also depends on what kind of product you're manufacturing. I mean, if it's a heavily automated process on a conveyor belt, how much skill do you really need to do a repetitive job? And how much of that job can be done by a robot instead? So, there is good news, however, for manufacturing companies who may be concerned that they will not be able to find the right type of workers to produce their products. Manufacturing in Mexico is a viable option due to its large, skilled, and educated workforce. Mexico is largely underutilized as a source of manufacturing workers. How can leveraging the labor pool in Mexico help address the manufacturing skills gap in the U.S.? Are they going to import more immigrants from Mexico to the U.S. and employ them for manufacturing? I guess if that's cheaper than just opening the factories in Mexico, like the most American cars are made in Mexico, in Mexican factories by Mexicans, what's the point of bringing that to the U.S.? I guess whatever's cheaper. I mean, they're probably good. I guess throughout that entire sector and different industries, different companies will kind of just, they're probably spread out. Some in the U.S., some in the Mexico, some... That's what Europe needs to do, but Europe doesn't really have the space. Anyway, finding the right workers. It is becoming increasingly difficult to find skilled workers. Compared to 20 years ago, the Americans employed in manufacturing have decreased approximately by 5 million. Right, and you know what these people have done? They sent their kids to university to become doctors, nurses, IT, and other skilled service jobs. Because we are a service economy, not a manufacturing one. Again, I'm waiting for the robots. In spite of a near record number of jobs in the opening manufacturing sector, 63% of the jobs during the pandemic have now recovered by the end of 2020. Why do so many people choose not to pursue jobs in our industry, resulting in the manufacturing skills gap ? There are actually several reasons for this. Retiring, yeah. New skills for manufacturing not being taught. Yeah, because everyone's going to IT and medicine, which is increasingly characterized by high-tech and high-skilled jobs. In order to meet the needs of manufacturers, multifunctional engineering technicians possessing both traditional manufacturing skills as well as engineering skills are required. Developing strong, localized talent pipelines with education partners in the community is imperative for manufacturers in order to locate workers. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Outdated perception of manufacturing careers. Stigma, okay. Wah, wah, wah. People are quitting. Yeah, because... It's not because of the fucking pandemic. It's because of fucking robots. Robots can do repetitive jobs way better than humans can. Biggest growth in job quitting. Oh, this is interesting. Mining and logging. Wow. Look at that. That's so funny. So the dirty jobs see growth whenever hard times happen. Huh. I wonder where I heard that from. Could be a geez, a sector rotation model? I don't know. Anyway. What happens when there's a skill gap? Yes, cutting costs is not easy. Nor is running a business. I mean, you've got to cut the costs in order to stay competitive. Or you offer something else to justify the higher cost of your product. Otherwise, why the fuck would anyone buy your product? Econ 101, hello? Mexico can fill the manufacturing skills gap. Are they really more skilled than Americans? I don't know. So, reshoring from China to Mexico. How prevalent is it really? Anyway, yeah. So, if anyone here is all about American manufacturing, I don't want to hear about it until you bring robots. Until then, it's just cheaper to outsource to people who will work harder for less money. That's the free market. As a employer or as a company, I have the freedom to choose my employees. I have the freedom to choose who will provide the services necessary to run my business, to sell my product. And if you want to stomp on that, you are stomping on capitalism itself. Just saying. So, yeah, I think I've touched on the topic deeply enough. Yeah, I'm kind of tired. I've got other projects I need to work on before the day's over. So, yeah. I think I touched all I need to. So, once again, to close out the show, nobody's watching. It's just me watching my own stream because I'm that pathetic. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry I missed the show last week. I hope this show made up for it. Please, please, please get involved with the community. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me what you don't want to see. And drop requests in the stream topics. I am curious what you, my dear viewer, are thinking. And I'm here to talk to people. And I'm here to learn more than anything. So, yeah. Once again, my only sponsor is, well, I guess one of two sponsors is Alcoholic Gaming, comedy, slapstick humor, Black Ops 3 Zombies with a couple of his friends. Go check them out. There should be a link in the description. There's also me. I'm kind of on a artistic frenzy. So if you want music, you want videos, you want graphics done, let me know. I'm here to learn. I'm here to work. That's what makes my life meaningful. And I think that's about it. I will see you next week. Or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Bye.